What's up, guys? This is Franklin Castillo here. I just felt like making this video to talk about, I've been seeing more videos now. It's more like a resurgence on YouTube now of people talking about their Vita, if they have one, or whether or not you should get one. This is a good time. Well, in reality, it's been a good time to get one in the last, like, maybe 2 years. This is actually the second one that I've gotten. I used to have the OLED version, Model 1000. Sorry for the reflection of the light here. I'll try to get in a better position. It probably isn't going to work. Oh well, too bad. But this is my PlayStation Vita. This is the 2000 model of it. They've only had two versions. The 1000 had the OLED screen to it, which I kind of preferred. Even holding this, at least with my hands, since I'm an older person, or I don't know, I have bigger hands, so I do recall having the 1000, the OLED version, and then comparing it to this one, like mentally, I just feel like I do prefer the first version of this. Now, my 1000 model actually gave it to my nephew, so I ended up buying this for myself after that. But I do kind of prefer, at least, it all really depends on personal preference. The only difference is the LED screen on the 1000. This one has a LCD screen, but in reality, it doesn't really make much of a difference when you look at the contrast. The only difference between these two models is that the battery life on this one is improved by probably an hour, hour and a half. It depends on what you're doing on it, what kind of game you're playing. But you're roughly going to get an extra hour on the 2000 model, like this one, the Slim, PlayStation Vita Slim. And the other thing is that this one has, like, the buttons and everything for the most part are the same. I do kind of feel that this is more glossy, though. I mean, it kind of depends. This is just more of a plastic, the exterior of it. The other one had more like a glass to it, in a way. It's kind of hard to say. I don't have the 1000 anymore. My old OLED, I gave it to my nephew, like I said. But, when you look at images of it, or if you see it in stores, you kind of notice there is, like, a bit of a difference. Now, whichever one you prefer is, it's really up to you. But, this one's slimmer, although it's only slimmer by, like, when you compare the two side by side, it literally looks like this one is, like, half the size of it, since this is a slim version of the 1000, or the OLED version. And, yeah, it has, like, the back, it also has, like, a back touchscreen. Very few games use that, though. This one has a micro SD card, if you could see that. It's a micro SD. And, the other version had its own proprietary connector. And I really enjoyed playing this console. It's a really very, very good handheld. It's actually really a shame that Sony is saying that they're not even bothering with, mobile gaming anymore, or console gaming in a mobile format. They add, oh, the PS Vita failed, PS Vita failed. That's all a lie. Okay, the games are selling like they were before, and there's plenty of games on this. You could actually argue there's more to do here than on your phone, and they keep talking about, oh, the system failed because of mobile devices. No, you can literally only get a AAA experience from this console, and you're talking about mobile. You don't have that on mobile devices, at least not to the same extent, yet. Slowly but surely, or in the future, it's possible that, you could play an Uncharted, or you could play Street Fighter on a mobile device, like a Samsung tablet or an iPad, but you don't have that, sadly. And I even look at the Android store here on my phone and on my Samsung tablet, and you just don't have that. So for them to say that this has failed because of mobile, or whether or not there were actually competitors to them, is actually a good argument, because the only competitor they truly had was Nintendo. And Nintendo now with the Switch, and hell, even the 3DS that this very console went up against, the 3DS still sells like crazy. you know, and it's like, you can't say that. And what is it? They even made a new version, the 2DS. That sells very well too, you know. And even with the Switch, which is the same company thing, but, you know, at the same time, Sony did it to themselves with the proprietary memory cards and the way they priced them initially. Now, if you wanted to get a Vita of either model, the OLED version 1000 or the 2000 version, you know, like this one, PS Vita Slim. I call it Vita 2000, but, you know, that's how they used to word it in the PlayStation Portable era, you know, if any of you remember that. But, yeah, it's still a really good opportunity. If not, it's a better opportunity. I got these from GameStop. I believe I paid for this one. I paid like $150 for it. But you can actually get these. I went to GameStop last holiday season around like November-ish last year, 2019, and I literally saw this console for $125. They're only going to get scarcer as the years go on. The best way to get these literally is by the secondhand market if you want to actually save money, you want to get a good deal, and still have money for games. You know, the games are still around. There's less and less of them in physical stores, though, sadly. But, again, you know, they only keep up copies for so long. Limited Run Games is one of the few companies still making and still reproducing a lot of physical titles. But either way, and also the memory cards are cheaper, too. Except when you go to GameStop.com. And it's for some reason it's just GameStop. They still charge it at like $126, I believe, the last time I looked, for the 64 gigabyte version. I actually have that version, the 64 gig one, which is the max you can get for this. But still, even the 32 gig one is the most affordable. I'd recommend that version. I believe it's still going for like $40 or $50, give or take. I'm not sure. I haven't looked since. But at least for GameStop, or what is it? They did have a sale on Amazon, I recall. But when you order from Amazon, they end up coming straight from Japan, so you actually have to wait a long time. And when you read the reviews, and even on the page on Amazon for the memory cards, and even for the Vitas themselves that they sell there, you can get them on sale there too, as well, but they're actually the Japanese versions, and they actually come right from Japan. And you have to wait a long time. You have to go through customs and all that wherever you live. But, I mean, if you could front that situation, you know, you'll get a new Vita, or, you know, a newish Vita. They still have a lot of new ones, like, out the box that they've never actually sold, but those are rarer and rarer now. I think they actually ended up increasing the price on Amazon.com, too, over it. But, I mean, this is an excellent console to own. A lot of apps don't work, sadly. They ended up discontinuing a lot of features. But, I mean, if you want to play a lot of the old games, a lot of good games, you know, Neptunia series, Uncharted, Killzone, Mercenary. The library is massive. And even if you're not interested in those games, this is a great handheld for retro gaming. And like old PSP, PlayStation Classics, you know, a lot of old games that you could play on. It has a massive... There's literally actually more of older games you could play here than a lot of the new ones, which is kind of weird to say, but it's true. And of course, remote play. If you have a PlayStation 4, you can benefit from that with remote play. I mean, you know, the possibilities are virtually endless when you think about it. And what is it? This actually has a killer feature, which I have never seen in a console, or even on a PC. Like, a lot of technology. This actually has, like, a, what do you call it? Like, a sleep mode function. Like, if you stop playing this, like, you don't turn it off, you just leave it. And there's actually reports that people have said that, like, they would have this in their drawer. Or, like, you know, not even in use. You know, they didn't turn it off, but, like, there's still something in the background, and the battery would literally stay alive, and the Vita itself would not even deplete energy for, like, a month. And, like, you could literally turn it on, or, you know, move this, or click a button, and then your game is still going on from when the last time you played it, even if it was, like, a month ago. I've read those kind of comments, and I've actually seen that myself, because there's games I have not, you know, played. Like, I'll be playing something, and then, you know, for whatever reason I stop playing it, you know, I'll pause it, and then I'll just leave it there. Sometimes I don't even get back to it till next day, and like, you know, it's off, or like it looks like a sleep mode, you know, or, you know, some form of hibernation. And then I would wake it up and it still has my game, which is really cool. Because I don't recall ever seeing the PlayStation Portable do that. You know, I used to have a PSP, and I'd never seen it do that. I like that. I mean, it's a form of like battery conservation or power saving, you know, because we live in that world. But even a lot of laptops don't even do it that well, where they save your information. This is actually a really cool innovation that Sony made, you know, with this. And it is a Bluetooth device as well. It has cameras on two ends, which is awesome. I really like this console. It's a really fun console to play on. I mean, it's really up to you. But, you know, these are getting scarcer by every day, every month that passes, really. If you really want to save, I mean, I would recommend getting, you know, one of these secondhand if you really want to make a savings, though. But if you could front the cost for a new Japanese version of it, go ahead if you are willing to deal with customs and having to wait. But again, you'll end up spending a little bit more, maybe like $100 or $2 in doing so. But it's not a bad deal overall. It's a really good value.